So it's the El Nino and the La Nina effect. That's what they're known as, the Spanish words. And it's normally a 7-year cycle where there's 7 years which are good years and 7 years which are bad years. But in recent times, because of multiple other factors, and an example is us pumping CO2 into the atmosphere and methane, thus warming the atmosphere and having indirect effects or implications on changing extreme events and climate. So you'll find in some places, for example, in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, they've had floods, which is something quite arbitrary or weird, but they've had floods which have impacted their cities. And now in South Africa, we're finding generally we've been assumed that we were fairly safe in terms of water supply. Now we're struggling.
With the dam levels in the metro sitting at 37%, the metro is looking to tighten water restrictions. The municipality says 10% of that water can't be used. Although there has been rain in the province, it hasn't made much of a difference in the catchment areas.
So the situation is very bad, and the restrictions remain. Part C restrictions remain, but we are in a process now, because we can see that the situation is not improving. We are in a process now of looking at the current restrictions to see if we cannot adjust a bit for them to be a little bit tight.
The water scarcity is also impacting on business. The Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber has called on its over 700 member companies to start using water sparingly. The Metro, working together with the university and private companies, are looking at progressively working at alternative ways to obtain water. The Nooit Gedacht low-level water scheme is in its third phase and should be completed by 2021. The municipality has started a process of drilling boreholes to explore alternative sources of water to reduce pressure from the dams that supply the city. The project, which cost 250 million, is situated in Kucha and has been named the Kucha Kop Wellfield.
So groundwater in the past, it was a problem. People would always say, we'll just sink a well. But people need to understand that groundwater cannot always be the solution. It needs to be managed effectively and proactively along with surface water if we want a good long-term sustainable water supply.
Infrastructure is also a problem for the city, with a population of about 1.2 million.
But the situation is bad, I must say. And another challenge that we are also having is that we remain with the challenge of water leaks. As you might have seen when you go around the city, the water leaks are still there. The infrastructure underground is very old. We do not have enough money to deal with that old infrastructure, but we do what we can. Every financial year we budget and we fix as much as we can.
Residents say they are doing what they can to aid the situation, but have pleaded with all community members to play their role.
We save every drop. Even when you're washing up, we use that water to throw onto the garden for the gardens or for the toilet. There is such a terrible shortage of water that everybody has got to save every little bit.
It is important for us to save water because water is life. If there is no water, there is no life, because everything comes from water.
The Eastern Cape SABC officers will also look at the impact on farmers and the rural areas. Iviwe Poti, SABC News, Port Elizabeth.